Hey everyone. So 2 weeks ago, Sabrina and I put out a video about what it costs us to RV full time. And to our surprise, it has done very well. And I thought to follow up on that, I would invite our two friends, Sean and Julie Chickery from Chickery's Travels, to come on our channel and talk about RV finance and budgeting. Sean and Julie are authors of the book, RV Full-Time Finance. They just have a wealth of knowledge when it comes to traveling full-time and how to budget and finance for it. They've been full-timing for over 4 years. They have a great website, which I'm going to put down in the description down here in the comments for a link to their website. And all this is free. Budgeting tools, financing tools, everything that you need to know to get started if this is a life that you want to pursue on the road and living in an RV. And to be able to offer all of that stuff for free, I think is amazing. So here they are, our friends Sean and Julie from Chickery's Travels.
Hi, we're Sean and Julie, and we're Chickery's Travels.
And we would like to thank Kenny from Moving Forward Adventures for asking us to participate in his project. And for that project, today we're going to talk about budgeting for full-time RVing.
So the main thing that people want to know when they're budgeting for full-time RV travel is how much does it cost? And that's a hard question to answer because it really varies depending on you and your lifestyle choices. It's a very individual thing. So for example, we usually like full hookup campgrounds, and those can cost a bit more. We like to have hot tubs and swimming pools, not just power and electric. So that again raises the bill just a little bit more. However, we like to stay at a place for at least a month, usually, sometimes two, and that brings the bill back down because there's usually a monthly discount. So we're going to go through the list right now of the major expenses in RV travel.
So the first couple are obvious ones. You're going to have an RV payment if you choose to finance an RV, or if you choose to pay cash, you're going to have that money saved up so that you can purchase the RV. So when you're planning, that's one of the things you should plan for, either the payment or the money in the bank to pay for the RV. The second main expense is going to be your insurance. Full-time insurance is a little bit more expensive because it's your home, so you have a lot of extra things that aren't covered in if you were just a weekender or an occasional RV user. The other things that you might want to consider are RV maintenance and repairs, as well as any gear or modifications. So as an example, we just had a big $6,000+ repair on our RV because of our deck. It got delaminated and we had to replace it. So we certainly had to have some money to pay for that repair. And then at the same time, we were also doing a solar upgrade and upgrading our batteries and a lot of the electrical components. So that was considered more of a modification than a maintenance or repair. And we had both of those things going on at once. So you certainly want to have some sort of monthly fund that you add to for those two areas. Also, going with gear, there's a lot of things that your RV doesn't come with that you're going to need. So sewer hoses, regular water hoses that are meant for drinking water, electrical cables to hook up.
And then just other items like that are optional, but a lot of people choose. Like since we're still working in our RV, we had a cellular signal booster, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of little things that go in that gear phase. So you definitely need to set some money aside every month to be able to purchase the extra gear that you need to be able to maintain this lifestyle full time.
And then there are other things that we kind of put under this category too, like fuel is a big one. So I talked about that really depends on how often you travel. So we have a big fifth wheel that we pull with a dually pickup truck, and we only move like maybe once a month. but we'll still spend $200 to $300 in diesel fuel because that's our daily driver around the area, and we like to do sightseeing. If you're moving your RV every week or so, then that fuel expense can be significantly higher.
And then you also have things like tolls. If you're going through toll areas, you have your annual registration fees. It has to be registered just like any other vehicle, so you have to consider that. You have propane costs if you don't have an all-electric RV. So propane for us is our stove, our oven, and our heating. So we have a small budget for that because we don't use a whole lot of it unless it's winter time. Then there's also generator fuel. If you're parked somewhere where there's no electric and you have a generator, you can use you're going to need to use generator fuel. We have an onboard generator, which tends to be a gas hog, so we spend a little more when we are not hooked up somewhere. Or we also use it in the summertime when we're driving between locations. We leave the generator running so that our RV stays cool with the ACs running.
So I mentioned that we have a towable RV, we have a fifth wheel, and so we have a vehicle that we tow it with. If you have a motorhome or like a Class C, then you might have a vehicle that you tow behind. So these expenses apply to either of those tow or towed vehicle. And so if those are financed, then obviously there's a payment, and again, there's insurance for it. You got to have maintenance and repair on that. Like we got all new truck tires last year. Extra upgrades, like we got a tire pressure monitoring system, and those we got it for both the truck tires and the RV tires,
which actually saved us twice in the last month. With the tire pressure monitor warned us before our tires actually went completely flat and started to shred. So that is pretty high on our list of things that you need to buy for your RV.
And then fuel for that vehicle and tolls for that vehicle as well. And if you don't have like the little easy pass things, if you're traveling to different places, you have to be very careful about tolls, because remember I accidentally went on one in the truck one day and I got the bill in the mail and it was like $21 for one toll, because I did that. So you got to be careful about that. Another thing that is item that a lot of full-time RVers have is a storage unit. So if you're like us and we're going full-time, it's been 4 years now, but we don't plan on doing it forever. So we went through our stuff and we started off with 2 storage units. After a few years, we realized we weren't ever going to go back to a very large home, so we were able to get it down to 1 small storage unit. But it is still a monthly expense because there were some things passed down through our family, or photo albums and stuff like that, sentimental value that we wanted to keep. So we pay a monthly storage fee.
And then if you like to stay in campgrounds, like we like to stay in campgrounds that have swimming pools, you got a budget for that, and that could be anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 a month. Or you can stay in state national parks, Corps of Engineer parks, some of the other sort of no-frills out in nature parks that will be considerably less, sometimes as low as $200 or $300 a month. And then you could also want to boondock, which could be free. So you can stay with no hookups out in like Bureau of Land Management. There's another name for them in Florida.
It's like Water Management Agency, WMA.
So you can stay in these areas for free. So it all depends on what you're looking for in the full-time RV lifestyle. A lot of people do a mixture. Well, they'll stay at nice resorts sometimes. They'll stay at KOAs or sort of middle-of-the-road campgrounds. Some of the time they'll stay in national and state parks sometimes, and they'll boondock sometimes. So it just depends on what you want.
One expense that probably won't change too much from your current lifestyle to your full-time RV lifestyle, at least it didn't for us, and that's food. So groceries, and we put 2 line items. One is groceries and one is like restaurants and eating out. Some people, I guess, at first, when they first start full-time RVing, they find that the restaurant bill gets kind of high because they're in a new place and they want to go out to eat all the time. But we really don't go out to eat very much. When we get to a new place, we'll pick like maybe 1 or 2, places that we want to go out to eat. So otherwise, it's predominantly groceries, and we're cooking in the RV. We have in our fifth wheel a residential refrigerator, so we have no problem stocking up on groceries. And then we use our propane stovetop and oven to cook most of our meals. We hardly ever even grill outside.
Yeah. And then going along with eating out, we like to go explore places that we're at. I mean, we're traveling in the RV, so we can see some nice places, and we like to go to museums and presidential libraries, take in really the history of America. So we also have an entertainment fund that we set aside a certain amount of money every month to dedicate towards going out and seeing the sights in the area. So that's an important budget item that many people don't consider when they're starting out.
Yeah, and we kind of just paid attention to, when we're going to a place, what types of things that we think we might want to do. And then once we set that budget, if we don't spend it all one month, we'll put that money in the savings account so that we have it later. Because, for example, when we were in Orlando, I wanted to go to Disney and Universal Studios and all these very expensive things. So the months that we did more hiking or national parks or something where we have a national parks pass and we didn't have to spend money, we were able to save it so that we had it later.
The next thing that doesn't change between your full-time RV life, and your regular living in a house life is your insurance. So you're going to have to maintain some sort of health insurance, whether that's through traditional methods or non-traditional, like the Christian health ministries that are a little bit cheaper. And then also your other insurances like life insurance, long-term care insurance, things like that.
Another thing that a lot of full-time RVers have is a mail service. So there are several different companies there's 3 different states that a lot of full-time RVers like to domicile in because they don't have state taxes, and they typically have lower registration fees for the vehicles, and that's Florida, Texas, and South Dakota. So there are actually several services in all 3 of those states that have mail services. You pay a monthly fee, between $10 to $20 a month, depending on what you want for that fee. The cheapest one is they just forward all of the mail to you, but you can also have options where they scan and email certain things to you, or they shred all your junk mail, so there's lots of different options like that to choose for how you want to get your mail. And then usually what they do is they hold it until you get to a campground or a city that allows for general delivery, and then they ship all that mail to you.
Or you can take the cheap route like we do, and we have relatives that accept our mail for us, and then when we get somewhere they'll send it to us, and they'll also let us know if it's junk mail, what do we want them to do with it.
Yeah. So another expense that we have, because in our fifth wheel, although we have a washer dryer hookup, we elected not to use the space because it's in the closet and I wanted the closet space. So we have a laundry expense, and we use the laundromats. Most of the campgrounds that we've stayed at have actually had their own laundry facilities, and it has ranged from, I think the cheapest we've had so far, and this has been maybe once, was 75 cents. And they seem more like they're around $2, $1.50 to $2 per load to wash, and then $1.50 to $2 per load to dry. I actually, though, after 4 years now, I still like doing it that way because I can get all my laundry done at once. I do it once a week and I just get it done quickly. And like I said, the campgrounds we stay at have them, so it's not like we really actually have to go out and find a laundromat.
And then one big expense that we didn't think of initially, and a lot of people don't consider, is internet service. So we spend a considerable amount of money to stay connected. We have 2 hotspots through Verizon. We have unlimited cell phone service plan. So campground Wi-Fi isn't always reliable. And so you really need to think about how connected you want to be when you're out here on the road, and certainly look at all the options available for getting internet service. But it's certainly something that you have to add to your budget.
And like he said, along with that is also cell phone service. You know, you can sometimes bundle those together. So we just recently got a new plan where our internet and our cell phone go together, and it brought it down a little bit, but it's still not cheap. Another part is, do you want to have TV still? So especially like if you're boondocking, like some campgrounds will have like cable TV, or if you're in a city, we often are, we can put our antenna up and get some TV channels. But Sean still likes his satellite TV, so that's another added expense. We like to stream movies, so we have a Netflix subscription. So those are other questions that you'll want to ask yourself. And then the last thing is just, I think, savings and an emergency fund.
Yeah.
And they're 2 different things, because an emergency fund really needs to be that, just like for emergencies. But then there's other expenses that you have throughout the year, like clothes. You know, every now and then you're going to have to buy a new pair of shoes or some new clothes. And they're not necessarily something that's every month. So if you just put a little money in savings every month, you'll have that. We have 3 young adult sons who, Sean says this wouldn't be a line item for him, but it is for us. I want to see them, and they're just getting started in their careers, so they don't necessarily have the money to fly out and see us. So we have a line item for plane tickets where either we'll fly to see them or we'll fly them out to see us. And that's like if we're in California with the RV, and you know, we're not going to necessarily drive out to Virginia just for a week or 2 visit. So that's when we'll fly. So those are the types of things that would go in savings. And then the emergency fund is separate. It usually should be between like 3 to 6 months of expenses, just in case something happens. You never know.
Yeah, sometimes your RV may need to be in the shop for a while, and you need to get a hotel. So you could use your emergency fund for that, and not have to worry about where you're going to stay if your RV ends up being in the shop.
Yeah, we actually just did that.
Yep.
When we had the deck replaced, and we just decided, we had the money in savings, so we decided to splurge and enjoy it, and went to a resort in Orlando and went to Disney. So it was kind of pricey, but savings. So what we did for 2017 is we went through all of these line items, and we actually put down our actual expenses. So if you go to our blog, chickerystravels.com, under travel finance, you can see our actual annual RV expenses. And what we did is we put the highest month for each line item, the lowest month for each line item, and then the average cost throughout the year for each line item, just to give you an idea of a starting place. And then you can look at that and you can decide, oh, well, I'm not going to stay in campgrounds as often as them, so I'm going to reduce that amount. Or I'm going to travel a lot faster than they do, so I'm going to increase my fuel budget. You know, but it's, I think, a good gauge, a good starting point for you to develop your own budget. And there's a link on that blog also of budget worksheets that we have developed. They're a free download on our website, so you can go there and you can download them, and then you can fill out the budget for yourself.
So we want to thank, once again, Moving Forward Adventures for inviting us to participate in their video series. And until we see you on the road, safe travels.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you found it helpful. I certainly enjoyed it. I watched it and learned a couple things myself. And again, I hope you take them up on their offer. Go to their website and click on those links and get the free spreadsheets and the budgeting tools and look at their breakdown of their budget and figure out what you think will work best for you when you enter this lifestyle. So thanks, Sean and Julie. I really appreciate it. Sabrina really appreciates it. And we will catch you guys out on the road. Take care, safe travels, and we will see you next time. Bye.